Okie dokie. In this video, we're going to continue with the 2024 first time viewing marathon and or marathon ranking, not marathon. I mean, it's kind of a marathon, but you know what I mean. Anyway, we're going to start with the ranking here, and we're going to be covering 317th place, or no, 318 to 294, I guess. Um, I need to readjust this for a second here. Okay, so rotate it around so that I can take from the top and work my way down to 294, I guess. Okay, so in 318th place is going to be Tom and Jerry the movie. It didn't seem to have enough of the smash and stretch cartoon aesthetic that the Tom and Jerry's cartoons are known for. So that's kind of holding it back a little bit because it doesn't have enough of the cartoony mayhem. Um, and then up next, the movie from this collection that we're going to be talking about is this one right here, H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. And for the year it came out, which looks like was the 60s, 1960, it's actually pretty good for 1960s visual effects. Yeah, 1960. So um, I can't remember if I've watched the remake or not. I want to say Tom Cruise is in the remake, or Guy Pearce from Iron Man 3, Aldrich Killian. Anyway, H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. And then in 316th place, I'm going to keep this notepad on my lap so I can reference down to it, is one called This Is 40. And I'd rather show the back of the case for that one right here. So yeah, there's that. And it was a pretty good movie. Paul Rudd is a funny character or funny guy to see in things, and so I enjoyed seeing most of whatever he's in. Let's see. And then there's 315th place is going to be Timeline with the late Paul Walker in it, and it's actually a pretty good Paul Walker performance. That's same with Gerard Butler there. Let's see. Don't recognize any of these other names, but it's a Richard Donner movie, like the first two Superman movies. So time travel stuff's usually a pretty safe bet for me. Just with so many movies being talked about, it kind of fell a little short compared to some other ones that are higher up on the list, unfortunately. And then we got There's Something More About Mary. This is the widescreen collector's edition with 13 hilarious new scenes, apparently, starring Cameron Diaz. For a while, I was on a real hot streak watching a lot of Cameron Diaz movies because I recently got a ton of movies. One of my hauls was like 90% her filmography. So that's cool. And then in 313th is a war movie, I think, or at least an army movie. I don't think they ever actually go to war in it, but we have Stripes, and um, it's very wacky and fun. Um, if you're up for an R-rated comedy, definitely check it out. It's pretty good. And then for this next part, we're just going to be talking about the first Strangers movie because I haven't seen The Strangers Pray at Night, but um, in what is this? 312th place is The Strangers, and it's a pretty good home invasion type story, and it takes a couple of interesting twists and turns. Of course, it has Liv Tyler from the Lord of the Rings and 2008 Hulk movie in it. Looks like the sequel has a familiar face from Wizards of Waverly Place. I can't think of who that young girl is. Bailey Madison, maybe? Anyway, has her in it. And it looks pretty good. I'll have to check it out soon. So in one of my later videos in this ranking series, this movie might come up again, being higher up in the ranking due to it being a more recent viewing, or it could end up being lower, and I might have to retcon my ranking. But anyway. In 311th place is Star Crash. This is another one of those Star Wars spoofs. This is the collector edition. Uh, kind of gives you Spaceball vibes, but I think Spaceball is the better version of this. Um, so yeah, but still an enjoyable movie. You can tell it's kind of this guy's using a lightsaber, kind of like Luke Skywalker would. And this is the Darth Vader type character, which I'm not sure why he's using guns if that's the case, but since that is the case. But anyway, pretty good story. Cult classic. In 310th place is Soul Surfer. Um, I've been watching lots of these types of things recently, where where it has to do with either surfing or ice skating. I have two ice skating movies, and I like both of them pretty well. And then I have a few surfer type movies. One is called Blue Crush, I think. We'll get to that later. But anyway, Full Surfer, good movie, based on a true story. So yeah, there's that aspect. Okay. One of the videos I'm going to be doing today is a review of Wicked, and it'll be the movie, and it'll be my inaugural movie review because I've ranked a lot of movies, but I've never actually reviewed one on my channel yet, so that'll be a first. Um, Up next in 309th place, we have Some Kind of Hate, and last time I saw that face was in Ant Farm as a memory prodigy that talked a lot. In this, she still kind of talks a lot, but she also she plays a dead character and like a zombie type person, and whatever damage she deals to herself is automatically dealt to her victims, which is interesting. And then in 308th place, we have A Smile Like Yours. And this is about a couple that are trying to start a family of their own, but they keep having trouble, and all the husband wants is for their kid to have a smile like his wife, which I think is really sweet. So definitely one of the best single dollars I've ever spent right there. And then in 307th place is the unrated version of Sisters here. And um, yeah, it's pretty funny. It's got a lot of humor in there. Um, I enjoyed it. I'd be curious to check out the theatrical cut. Um, but yeah, the unrated version is pretty good. I imagine the regular one is too. And then in 306th place, we have Sin City: A Dame to Kill For with Robert Rodriguez. Uh, and who else? Looks like Josh Brolin, Bruce Willis, um, the guy that would have became Robin if Christian Bale's Batman had a fourth movie. Right here. Let's see. Christopher Lloyd is in here. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, that's the guy I was thinking of. And then Rosario Dawson, I believe she is the Filoni-verse live action Ahsoka, if I'm not mistaken. In 305th place, we have Simone. And Simone is a computer program created by Al Pacino's character to star in all his movies and whatnot, and basically do whatever he programs her to do, which is interesting. Um, and then up next we have surprisingly only the third horror movie on this part in this video, and that is Silver Bullet. Silver Bullet is one of the better werewolf stories that I've seen. Seems to be a bit smarter than other werewolf movies, so more props to Stephen King for that. I recently got a second copy in a 4-movie bundle, so that was pretty cool. In 303rd place, we have Sideways with Paul Giamatti, Thomas Hayden Church, um, Virginia Madsen, and Sandra O H O H. That's actually the character's name. See, Sandra O. And it's about a couple. The men, uh, Paul Giamatti and Thomas Hayden Church's characters. They are um, they go on a wine tasting road trip through California's famed Central Coast, and it takes a few detours that put the two characters at odds. And I think they're best friends. I don't think they're brothers, but um, yeah. Anyway, I think they're just friends. In 302nd place is the Shining miniseries. Um, and quite honestly, what's holding this one back for me is the lack of an elevator scene, because both the Jack Nicholson The Shining movie, where he's the lead character, and the Doctor Sleep movie have a scene where an elevator opens up and blood floods a um, hallway area, and that's not found in this very long 273-minute version. They split this one up into 3 parts on 2 discs, and while it is still a pretty good adaptation of the story, and it's Stephen King's version of the story, the Stanley Kubrick directed Jack Nicholson starring one is much better. And in 301st place is this one here, and they try and track down and delete the their version of what the title says. And yeah, there you go. And rounding out our the bottom 300 range, in 300th place is Scream 6. Nothing against the movie. I think it does a lot really well. It brings back a character that is presumed dead from Scream 4 as one of the killers, which I think was an interesting plot twist. I actually quite enjoyed that plot twist. And then, of course, it's meta and references other slashers and whatnot, as it should, being a Scream movie. It brings back Jenna Ortega's character, who was one of the more enjoyable parts of Scream 5. And there you go. All right. So we're now in the 200s, and we have 4 more titles left for this particular video to talk about. And we're not even at 20 minutes yet, so we're doing good on time. Up next is in 299th place is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And the case there is probably the most disturbing part about the movie. It's actually a pretty good movie. It's set in 1968, and it's produced by Guillermo del Toro. I probably butchered his first name, but yeah, I thought it was pretty good, despite it being so low in the ranking, just because the sheer volume of titles that I've watched this year was a lot. In 298th place is Scott Pilgrim versus the World, right here. And this is probably one of the better roles that I've seen for the lead character who plays Scott Pilgrim in the movie, as well as an interesting role for great what's his name? I don't want to butcher it. I know who for Chris Evans. That's not the one I was thinking of. And Brandon Routh. I'm never sure if it's Brendan Routh or Brandon Routh. Brandon Routh. It is. Uh, Both of them have pretty interesting characters and good little subplots in the movie. Basically, it's um, Michael Cera's him. His he's trying to win the affection of this girl who he really likes, but he has to fight all of her ex relationships to do it. And really interesting, really good story. I liked that quite a bit. Okay, the next movie will be talked about 3 times in 3 different positions because I watched all 3 different versions of the movie, and that is Salt. Uh, so in 297th place is the extended cut, which is the version that I watched last, I think. And it wasn't as good as the other 2 versions. The director's cut was pretty good, although I think it did just fine with its initial theatrical cut. Honestly, the theatrical cut was really cool. Um, so yeah, pretty good. Good movie though. Let's see, and then the last movie in this video is 294th place. By the way, the Salt theatrical cut is in 295th. In 294, the movie in that position is The Royal Tannenbaums with Owen Wilson, I think Luke Wilson, Gene Hackman, Bill Murray, Gwyneth Paltrow, Ben Stiller. Yeah, Owen and Luke Wilson. That's right. And yeah, um, so pretty good movie. It's got a very stacked cast of really cool actors, including I don't know what this lady's name is, but she was the original Grand High Witch in the movie The Witches. I think the original one was like in the 80s, came out in the 80s or 90s, something like that. Um, a newer version came out in 2020, which I believe I've already talked about in this ranking series. If not, I will be. So, um, yeah, we'll see. Anyway, so that is it for this portion of my ranking extravaganza, and I'll be right back with both a haul video and a minifigure showcase, I think, or maybe my inaugural movie review, which I've had my channel for almost 2 years now. It's amazing that I haven't done a movie review and just done rankings and haul videos mostly, and minifigure showcases, of course. But anyway, I'll be back with my inaugural movie review, and I have Lego representatives that are in the movie, but they aren't based on the movie directly. They're based on the original source material because the movie I'm going to be reviewing is Wicked, which, of course, is a Wizard of Oz type story. It's kind of like Wizard of Oz, the prequel, before Dorothy and all that, and all that stuff goes on. So, yeah, I'll be right back with that, and then we'll do a short little haul video, maybe a minifigure comparison video, because now I have two different minifigures of the same character, or not really character, but the same, well, yeah, kind of character. Anyway, moving on. That's for another video, and then I got some movies and music on, I forget what day it was. I want to say it was Friday. Anyway, fairly recently, I got another movie and 3 music albums. So I'll be showing that in another upcoming video here pretty soon.